Hey everybody, this is Unit 5, Formative 1, Video 2. We're going to be factoring trinomials. So before we start, make sure you're going to take some good notes because this is where the material starts to get really difficult. You might have to watch the video once or twice, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so what we want to do here is factor the trinomial completely. So basically, if you think back to the last unit, we were given two parentheses sometimes, and maybe it looked like this, 2x plus 1 and x minus 3. And then we've distributed it all together and multiplied it all together to get something in the end that looked like this guy right here. Okay, basically what we're going to do is go backwards now, and we're going to start with this, and we're going to work our way to get to something like this. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is start by drawing my two parentheses, because that's what I know I'm going to get to. Okay, the next thing I like to do is look at my term right here. Well, that's just an x squared. Well, to get x squared, we need to multiply x times an x to give me x squared. So we're going to put an x in both positions here and here, because x times x gives me x squared. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about the term or the number that's in front of this x squared. Well, that's a 1. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 times negative 15. So 1 times negative 15, and that gives me a negative 15. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find all the factors of negative 15, or in other words, all the things that can multiply to be negative 15. So the first one, I actually just did one of them, so 1 and negative 15 will give me negative 15. Also 15 and negative 1 will give me negative 15, because a positive times a negative gives you a negative. Then we also have 3 and negative 5, and 5 and negative 3. So those are all the things that will multiply to be negative 15. Okay, so I just made that little list off to the side. You're going to do that for every single problem. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add all of these together. So 1 and negative 15 is negative 14. 15 and negative 1 is positive 14. 3 and negative 5 is negative 2. And 5 and negative 3 is positive 2. Now, the reason I did that is because I'm looking for the two numbers that are going to add to be a positive 2. Okay, so there's only one of those that actually add to be a positive 2, and that's going to be this set right here. So we can ignore the rest of those. So that means that I want to plug in 5 and negative 3 into my parentheses here, because then when I multiply, I will end up with a 2x in the middle. So I'm going to plug in plus 5 and minus 3, because it's a 5 and a negative 3. So I did 5 and negative 3. And then I'm going to double check my answer. So if I look, that gives me 5 x's and then another negative 3 x's.
And chess club report to the South Gym for club photos. Again, will athletic training students, bowling, and chess club report to the South Gym for club
When I
photos?
add those two together, then I'm going to get a positive 2x, which is what I want in the middle. Okay? So that's just kind of a quick way to check. So you want to make sure that you get exactly what you want in the middle here. Right? And then you can also double check, well, x times x gives you the x squared, and then 5 and negative 3 gives you your negative 15. So this is actually our answer right here. Let's look at another one. We want to do the same thing, factor the trinomial completely. So first of all, let's put that 1 in front of the x squared. We can draw our parentheses, and then x times x gives me x squared. So I already have those two things filled in. Then I'm going to take 1 times negative 35, always the first term times the last term. So that gives you 1 times negative 35 is negative 35. And now I'm going to find all the factors of negative 35. So 35 and negative 1, negative 35 and positive 1, 7 and negative 5, negative 7 and positive 5. Then I'm going to add them all together. So we get 34, negative 34, 2, and negative 2. All right, so now I'm going to look for the one that adds up to negative 2 because my middle term is negative 2. So if I look here, my last one is the one that is negative 2. Since both of these x's are just a 1, we can just simply plug in the numbers and get minus 7 and plus 5. And again, we can double check our answer. So right here we would get x squared. Here we would get 5x. Here we're going to get negative 7x. And here we get negative 35. If we add these two middle terms together, we get x squared minus 2x minus 35, which is exactly what we started with. Okay, so this right here is just checking your answer. This is what I need to see as an answer. All right, this one is a little bit different. We're still doing the same concept, but now if you look, we have a 3 in front instead of a 1. Okay, same idea though. Everything is going to stay the same up until the very last step. So first we're going to draw our parentheses. And this time, instead of putting an x and an x here and here, we need to figure out, well, what's going to give me 3x squared? Well, that would mean that 3x times 1x will give you 3x squared, or just 3x times x. Okay? Then we're still going to take the first term times the last term. So 3 times negative 18 is going to give you negative 54. So then we want to find all the factors of negative 54. So we have 9 and negative 6. We have 6 and negative 9. We have 27 and negative 2. Negative 27, positive 2. We have 18 and negative 3. We have negative 18, positive 3. We have 54 and negative 1, and then negative 54 and positive 1. We're going to go through and add all these together. So 9 and negative 6 gives you 3. 6 and negative 9 is negative 3. 27 and negative 2 is 25. Negative 25. 15. Negative 15. 53. And negative 53. This one should have been a 53. Okay, and then again, we're still going to look for the one that adds to negative 25. So that would be this one right here. The rest of them, we don't even need to worry about. Okay, the only thing that's different here is when we multiply here and here, we want to make sure that one of those numbers is negative 27 and one is positive 2. Okay, well, you can't multiply 3 by anything over here to get a positive 2 down here on this line. So that means that the positive 2 needs to go right here. So that gives me 2x. So that got rid of this one right here. So now my other line needs to be a negative 27. So I need to get 27x down here somehow, negative 27x. Well, that means it needs to be negative something. Okay, well, what times 3 gives you negative 27? That would be negative 9. So 3x and negative 9x, when you multiply these, you get negative 27x. And then if those two add together, you get negative
Quizzes,
25,
news,
which is what
interruptions.
you want.
Will culinary arts
So
debate
here
FCA report
is your final
to the
answer.
South Gym for club photos? Again, will culinary arts and FCA go to the South Gym for club photos?
All right, here's the last one that we'll do today. Again, same concept, so we're going to start with our parentheses. This time we have a 2 out front of the x squared, so 2x and 1x will give you 2x squared. So that's why I put those there. Multiply 2 and negative 7 together, you get negative 14. So we're going to find the factors of negative 14. So we got 14 and negative 1, negative 14, positive 1, 2 and negative 7, 7 and negative 2. This one gives you 13, negative 13, negative 5, and positive 5. We're looking for the one that is negative 13. So that would be this guy right here. Okay, well that means that between these two things, one of them needs to equal 1x and one needs to equal negative 14x. Okay, well 2 on this line, 2 times this number over here will never be a 1. Okay? Because it always has to be a whole number in here. So 2 times this number will never be 1. That means that the 1 needs to come over here and we need to say plus 1. So then we have 1 times 1x. There's our 1x. So that's where this one comes into play. All right? Then this line needs to be negative 14x. Well, 2 times negative 7, 2x times negative 7 will give you that negative 14x. So then here would be your answer. All right, here are a couple that you can try on your own before class. If you don't know how to do these right now, you would have to go back and rewatch the video. Make sure you come to class knowing how to do these two problems or having questions on them at least. All right, we will see you later.